It's okay, I'll go around the back.
There we are.
You're not.
Hello? Hello? Whoa. Who's handling this stuff?
That's Lori.
Lori. Hi, Lori.
You're very close. Hi.
Lori, we're laughing because your chair was around. All we saw was your unmade bed. Oh, wait, we can't hear you.
Unmute, Lori. We did that last time, too. It's so funny.
So, Lori, let me ask you something. How's the sound now?
Good.
Okay, good.
With everyone in the
So,
room.
Cece, say something.
Hello. Cece is here.
Could you hear her?
Yeah.
Apparently.
There's a lot.
So, what will
Am I the only one here?
What will help us, because a number of people are taking this class and they really only can rely on these people in Canada. What will help us is when someone speaks, we try to everybody else stay quiet. And the person speaking, use your theater voice. Anybody not have one of those? I'm sure you all do. Yeah, we hear you. We can hear you. So, but I've moved this up front here so that I am heard. So that I think it's going to be a little better. And this way too, this is this way because now you can swing the camera. It's not my best angle, but I'm going to live with it.
It's lots better now.
You're in your light now, yes.
Okay. So, Connie, just checking to see. No.
Not that I know.
That's it.
Okay, well, we're going to start. They get here, before they can watch it online in nature. So, I invite you all to take a deep breath. Now, you can possibly follow me with this treatment I'm going to read. And you know, in fact, do this. Grab your book. Go to page 102. This is a chapter that Reverend Nancy is going to cover tonight. So page 102. It's on physical healing, but kind of has a cover-all feeling to it. Bingo cover-all, you don't know what that is, right? So, you know, that's how your face goes. Okay, well, wait, you know what? Let's start the evening by all saying happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
He chose his birthday night to spend with us.
Let's get better.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Craig. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday. You won't ask which one it is.
It's his current one.
Is it big one? It's 60.
24.
40.
65? Really? You're awesome.
Yeah,
You're just a kid. Well, I love any day when I'm not the oldest person. Because lately, it feels like I'm always the oldest person. Come in. It's today your birthday.
We say it's your birthday. We just sang already.
So, everyone take a deep breath. We're going to talk a lot about treatment tonight. So, I'm going to read this. Read along with me if you like. There is one, I mean, not out loud. There is one life. That life is God. That life is perfect. That life is my life now. My body is a manifestation of the living spirit. It is created and sustained by the one presence and the one power. That power is flowing in and through me now, animating every organ, every action, and every function of my physical being. There is perfect circulation, perfect assimilation, and perfect elimination. There is no congestion, no confusion, and no inaction. I am one with the infinite rhythm of life which flows through me in love, in harmony, and in peace. There is no fear, no doubt, and no uncertainty in my life. I am letting that life, which is perfect, flow through me. It is my life now. There is one life. That life is God. That life is perfect. That life is my life now. Knowing this, I know that this class unfolds perfectly for each one. Brings forth whatever it is we all wish to have brought forth. I know that every idea, every question, every discussion, every answer is the perfect expression of each and every one of our individual minds. And so I know that this class begins and continues throughout the evening to enlighten, to shed light, and to bring light through each and every one of us. I'm so grateful for this, so grateful for each and every one of you tonight, and online, and beyond. And I just relax into this evening and invite everyone to relax into this unfolding, perfect, beautiful evening. So I just step aside with gratitude in my heart, and I just let it be so. Together we all say,
and so it is.
So how are you all doing? Everybody's good? So tonight we're going to talk a lot about treatment. These weeks are all kind of stackable weeks. They kind of stack themselves up. And who am I missing? I'm missing Myrna and David Allen Cruz. On oh, it's her birthday, right? Okay, good. I'll just say that because they're two practitioners. They're practicing back 1 year. So, especially as we do spiritual treatment. So, let me go quickly over the weeks. We do this every single week. Week 1 was about oneness. What is oneness? Let's leave it. Oh.
Oneness is the idea that there is no separation, that there is only one life.
There's one life. That life is God's life. That life is my life now. By the way, what you just heard, Ernest Holmes' treatment, he's quoting Emma Curtis Hopkins. That is how Emma Curtis Hopkins always treated. There is one life. That life is God's life. That life is my life. That life is God's life. That life is my life now. So, oneness. Why is it so important, Gary, for oneness to be such an important part of what we do as spiritual scientists?
Oneness is where everything comes from. Source.
Okay. Why is it important, though? And just speak a little louder so you reach me. Hold on a second. Somebody online has their mic on. Just mute yourselves, guys. Right here.
Why is it important?
Yeah. Why is it important? Why is oneness so important in terms of, remember, this is called How to Change Your Life, and the class is called Beyond Limits. So, and the whole point is, how do we use our minds to create the life we want? So why is oneness important in that scenario?
It's important so you understand your connection and how you fit in, and so your life unfolds, and you can make that anything you want. That's the thing on a day-to-day basis.
Okay, that's good. Good. So oneness is important because that's where the power is. You need to, we just did this beautiful healing circle in the other room. I mean, not healing circle, it says it felt like the healing circle. And the conscious level that it took me to, anyway, just sitting there, seeing it. From that level, that's when you speak your word. So when you're in that place, you just feel one with everything, and you are just touching everything and everyone, and you know there's no separation. Now say your word. Now the universe answers instantly. Because it knows that you know. It just responds perfectly. That's why oneness is so important. When we feel separate, when we feel less than, when we feel like the individual, not that entirety, that's when we start experiencing fear, doubt, and uncertainty. But in that place of oneness, everything's possible, yes? Yes. So that's why oneness is so important. Week 2 was the creative process. So, Eric, I ask you this last week?
I think so.
Did I? You want to try it again? You did perfect
No,
last
what-
week.
what was
No,
it?
I had Devin do it. So he came up and did the thing on the board. What is the creative process?
The creative process is the process by which our conscious thought activates in the subjective mind power that creates in the world of form.
Very good. That's it. So, the creative process is the way we use our minds. It's the process, if you're Canadian, the process by which we use this science to create what we want. And we say that when we talk about the creative process, we're always talking about that circle. So, and you'd think after 16 years of teaching this, my circle would get better. But apparently I have a core belief
That it doesn't have to be a circle.
that I can't draw a good circle.
Or that it doesn't have to be one.
That was good, wasn't it?
Good.
And that core belief has been uprooted here this evening. So what's up here, Eric?
Conscious mind,
And what's here?
subjective mind,
And what's here?
the world of form.
Four. Okay, so very simply, conscious mind is you, where you're thinking, your active thoughts. Conscious mind thinks into subjective mind, called subjective mind because it is subject to whatever you put in there. Yes? And subjective mind, where the law is, creates and expresses and demonstrates that which is the form of your life. Everybody understand that? Now, let me ask you this. Where are your beliefs? Which place here are your beliefs? Sean, subjective mind. So this is my beliefs, right? Are they up here too? Yeah. Yes? What's the difference?
The difference is the beliefs in the subjective mind are often not fully understood or appreciated or remembered, or that we're not conscious of, but they're active subconscious,
Unconscious, right? Okay, so yeah, there are beliefs down here, but conscious beliefs, where's the power? The powers we choose, the act of volition. So you said the powers in the shoes. Oh,
They are the
shoes.
No place I go.
That's right. Yeah, the powers in choice, the volition, that's right. So I could say this has more power than this, but to the law, it's answering this as quickly as it answers that. It's just that I can pull up something up to conscious mind and literally empower everything I've got. And this down here is always just working based on whatever belief you got down there with, whatever energy got there with in the first place. Okay, everybody clear on this? Lynn, Barrett? Got it? Yeah. Yes, Liza.
I don't know if I knew that, but I was under the impression that the
Conscious mind.
that was more something that we learned of what let's go through these are a little less how do I explain it?
No. No, it's the opposite. These down here are unconscious mind is here as well. Unconscious mind and subconscious mind. Well, it says the same as that. Subconscious, right? So they're down here too, but no, this is where the power is in the conscious mind. It thinks power.
Right.
But this is conscious.
Where's the sacred belief is like common it would be invalid. So
So you bring it in.
until we recognize it, so you bring it from yes and this yeah.
50 Shades of Belief. Yes, you bring it from the subjective
Subjective.
mind
Subjective.
into conscious mind.
So when you
Yes.
want to change it, from conscious. So when I want to put another worthiness,
Everything's done here. This is automatic. This just does what it does. You can't do anything to this. It just does what it does. You have to pull it up here and talk about it. It's like an oven.
bake whatever you throw in there.
Yes. But just like an oven, it's going to bake whatever you throw in there. But up here, you decide the temperature. And you decide to pay attention and know when to take it out before you burn the turkey. So it's so dry for Thanksgiving.
Could that be like a
Yes.
knee-jerk response?
It's, well, you could say knee jerk, yes, it's automatic. Absolutely. It does. It just will continue to do whatever's in there to do. Yes.
So unconscious habits, unconscious beliefs, as well as conscious beliefs. What's the mechanism by which these manifest?
The mechanism, subjective mind, the law, operates on whatever belief is there and continues to manifest from that belief. Within the belief is the law. It's all one thing. This is really all one thing. So you have a belief and it just instantaneously manifests. So what happens so much of the time though is that, say this belief is uncertainty. Okay? And here's a belief over here, which is, what was that one? Uncut. So here's a belief over here, which is, you're saying career change. You have a belief, I can change my career. And you also have a belief, I'm not really sure if I can do it well. So these two actually come together and form whatever they form and go into the demonstration based on all of it. Just being very simplistic here because it's a number of beliefs. So that's why it's so important to pull these up here. You want a career change, you pull it up here, you stay firm, you stay intact, you stay focused on what it is you want. You don't allow all these, as I said to Kevin this morning, I said, all those rogue beliefs that just roam around in there. Now, when you find them, look at them. We're going to talk about that tonight. Now, how do you deal with those rogue beliefs when they show up? What you do not do is just push them back down. Pretend they're not there. Because if you do that, they're just still operating perfectly. Okay? So that's the creative process. The next week 3 was affirmative prayer. So, Liza, do you want to tell me what affirmative prayer is? With your theater voice. That's it.
For me, affirmative prayer is faith behind it.
Okay. Faith behind words. I can make that work. Okay, Devin, what's an affirmative prayer? Okay, I can make that work. I can fix that for you. Laura, what is affirmative prayer?
Creating your belief and speaking it through action.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Affirmative prayers is a statement of what it's first of all, it's a statement of acceptance and knowledge of who you are and what you
Okay.
and then from there, we state our intention. And with stating our intention, we apply with the whole. And with that intention, there's no something.
So you're starting to get into treatment, which I'm going to get to.
Oh,
So that's good.
so you're talking,
What is an affirmative? Yeah, just the definition of what is. Not how do we do it. What is an affirmative prayer? How about this? Oh, Craig?
Well, it seems to me this understanding this process, the conscientiously applying.
Okay, good. How about this? Yeah, go ahead.
Well, as an affirmation, definitely stating a purpose, making it firm,
Is an affirmation an affirmative prayer?
as in an affirmation.
As in an affirmation. An affirmation is not an affirmative prayer. It's a form of an affirmative prayer. It is.
Great.
Yes, it's a short affirmative prayer. Yes. I was going to say it's not, Lindy.
It's reminding us that it's an alignment.
James.
It's an alignment of what you really are. Coming back to the truth of who you really are.
Okay, good. All of this is correct. So how about this for a real definition of it, or for really understanding it? It is a movement of energy upon a malleable substance that always pushes it into form equal to exactly what you said. So what I want is an affirmative prayer is a movement of energy. You are moving energy. That's what affirmative prayer is. Yes, it is the words you speak, but not really. It's the belief behind the words you speak. But it is a movement of thought. It is a movement of energy through a law that takes it and always forms its perfect equal and manifests into a demonstration. So I want you to really get that an affirmative prayer is energy, a movement of energy that you focus. Affirmative prayer can only be the way, like Lindsay said, when you know who you are and you speak your word, you are moving energy. You are creating with this energy. You're not creating the energy, you are creating from that energy, because that's who you are.
Enthusiasm.
Yes, enthusiasm. Thank you, Dr. Moore. So, and now, secondary causation. Since Eric just arrived, Eric, see him laughing into his paper. I can still see you. So tell us what secondary causation is.
Secondary causation is your reaction to, it's like a
They want you to be louder.
louder, the
The other one.
reaction to the response or the outcome. Just sort of repeats word cycles.
That's it. So if this is cause, right here, and whenever I cause goes into the law and manifests as form, once form happens, I have an opinion about it. I have a reaction to it, don't I? Whatever happens. I have a thought up here that, oh, bad economy. I put that into here and I show up with lack. Now lack shows up and I'm like, see, I knew that that was going to be my life. And we're back. There's your new cause. The reaction to the form, to the experience, now comes back up top and reboots and creates all over again. That's why people get into ruts. Secondary causation. Because I'm basically creating from the crap of the world around me, instead of saying, as Jesus said, go 1,000 to my left and 1,000 to my right. And I paraphrase what he said after that. I know what I'm doing. Right? So something like that. Got it?
So secondary causation,
Yep.
that's something that we ourselves think, or it's something that we allow the collective consciousness to
It is always you. Always, it's always your responsibility. You are creating. Nothing outside of you can ever create in your life. Even though it looks like it is, it's actually just back to you.
I'm just trying not to get everybody on my just.
Oh, no, you can go fast. They don't care. Because I've watched this before. It's like, I love it when it goes back fast. So much better. Otherwise, they're like, get to him, get to him, get to him. Where was I?
you're the one that's in charge.
Oh, right. Because even though everything's going on out here, it's still, if everyone in this room started saying how horrible the world was, the only way it would create anything in my life is if I agree. What am I in agreement? And secondary causation, by the way, is that I'm now in agreement with this, whatever it is. It can be a good thing too, though, secondary causation. I know that there's nothing but prosperity in the universe. I put it in there and I win the lottery and I'm like, yeah, more of that. I believe this stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of people do. They come into this science. I was at Joe Hoover's doctorate ceremony last Friday night, and it was just beautiful. But he got up and talked about, he was in the Richelieu's church in Redondo Beach, and he and his husband wanted to have a baby. So they went to Anita, Joe went to Anita for treatment. Now this is like, he was 18, so this is 18 years ago. He wasn't a practitioner, never even took a class, but he was in that church. So he went to Anita Richelieu and he said, Trey and I want to have a baby. And Anita said, do you have a baby room? And have you built the nursery? What are you doing to have a baby? Are you preparing for a baby? And Joe's answer was, no, we want to see if we can have it. She said, no, see, you want to see if you can have one. Do you want a baby or not? Go home and build a nursery. And so Joe, when you hear Joe's always like, oh, she says that to you. Gotta go build a nursery. How many know Anita Richard? She's actually the first person that looked at me when I was learning to be a practitioner and said, "You're going to be a minister." She's like, she's just one of those people. Goes in right on. So anyway, Joe went home. He and Trey built a nursery, and in 10 days, they had a brand new baby in that nursery.
Wow.
Out of nowhere. And Joe said, they both had vibrant careers. Trey is still a very successful pilot for Alaska Airlines, but Joe still is a very big broker in the unions. He still does that. And he said, he turned to Trey and he went, "We gotta go to classes. This stuff works. We really gotta go figure out what she just did." And then he spent the next years just going from class to class to class, practitioner to minister to ordained minister, now he's doctor. Right? So that's really what happens. When this happens and something happens and you're starting to demonstrate, you're like, yeah, I get it. So that move forwards too. It's not just the negative stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Got it? Good. Okay, that's, thank you, Eric. That was beautiful. And now week 5 was the reciprocal universe. The reciprocal universe. I know you were, did you watch last week's class? So I shouldn't ask you this question. Did you two watch last week's class? So I shouldn't ask you this.
Try anyways, let's just see what we get. Okay. See what we get. Yeah.
So what is the reciprocal universe?
Yes.
Do you need an outside line?
Yes.
An outside line.
No. Okay, so something that's reciprocated to you. So if it's given, you shall also get.
Yeah.
Cause and effect.
Very
Law of cause and effect.
Now they're like,
we're done.
pick that up easy.
Equal to what you want.
Just use the word equal. So what am I looking for? 2 words. Sammy. Mentally equivalent. Ding, ding, ding. You have won the lottery.
That's my thing.
No, she
She didn't.
She said oneness, which isn't a bad answer.
She got
Unless you
closer.
mean that Lynn Barrett is your baby too. So, the reciprocal universe means that whatever happens here shows up here. Equal. The mental equivalent means that whatever you're equal to, I have more people say to you what I say to them. If you're equal to it in mind, it will show up in form of staff. How do I become equal to it? The answer is, what are you thinking? What do you believe? That's how you become equal to it. If you think the world is a place that is good and bad, then you are going to live a life that constantly does what you want. That's the way it works. If you believe that you can have a life of quiet desperation, you will probably have a life of quiet desperation sometimes. Sometimes you won't. And you'll think these are flukes. This is just your destiny. So whatever you decide, you get in equal proportions. That's why it's so important to know what you think and what you believe, why these exercises are so
James,
important.
what you're really saying is it's all about me.
It's all about me, the mental equivalent. Yes. So that's week 5. So this is week 6. This week is about spiritual mind treatment. So, Alan, you probably didn't write your essay then, because why would you have? Who has their essays? I emailed. Do you have it with you? Okay, then I'm going to go. I was planning. I was looking to see how. Did you do it? Did you do yours? Was it yours? You have yours? Yeah, that's right. Who has their essays? Raise your hand high. Okay, good. Lindsay, you didn't do your essay? You weren't here. You didn't know your essay. Liza, did you do your essay?
I did.
Oh my God, I did. Okay, so come on up here. Come up and read it. It's not that long, is it?
No, well,
I mean, we're going to break into triads, but that's not going to help you all because no one, there's only about 6 people who did essays. So,
okay.
right here. Put it right on the podium if you want. It's the future practitioners of level 2 says.
All right. So what I wrote really is just kind of just really making sense of it. So
It's funny because you know what it says in my favorite? Regular good food. Keep it simple and don't edit or defend it.
all right, well, I'm not going to edit. So here goes. This week has been a rather interesting of sorts. What started out as something I was looking forward to became a sequence of confused, misguided, and half-assed desires. The first one, though rather small, if that's possible, came pretty quickly. I was sitting at Sugarfish getting ready to order when I got a sudden wave of panic. I wasn't sure what it came from, but suddenly my first instinct was to just leave the restaurant immediately. Now, in hindsight, I know why this wave came on. I had decided earlier that day that I was going to take myself to sushi and really concentrate on what it was that I wanted to manifest or demonstrate. I mean, a good one that really proves the law. I debated between money, a date, weight loss. I ran the gamut, but the moment I sat down and needed to get clear, I panicked arose. I guess there was a resistance greater than I had realized. In that moment, my desire became clear. This isn't going to happen. I'm calm, I'm relaxed, and every part of my being experiences peace. I closed my eyes, sat for a moment, and let the declaration wash over me. The wave was gone. I mean, it was gone. And when I tell you guys that I had a panic attack, I really was like, I just have to leave. I'm going to leave my fish I've eaten. I got to go. But I couldn't do that. And the way was, I mean, it had not occurred to me until now, when I was writing this, why the anxiety showed up. I never did actually commit to a desire. I continued to vacillate between getting a check or getting a date. Every time I thought about getting clear on my goal, I'd become distracted. When I finally said to myself, tomorrow morning, you get clear, period, I got sick. I mean, sick. Like, I was in bed for 2 days. I had a sore throat. I had to go to the doctor. I mean, I was sick. Then I got mad. I got mad at God. Then I lost faith. This obviously is not going to work for me. And then I found a check. And that I found a check that I hadn't deposited, but I found it. And the irony is that before I actually found the check, I was like, it's not true. What you believe, the lack of faith that you have, that you're getting mad at yourself, getting mad at God, that this isn't working for you, that you can't get clear. It's not true that this doesn't work for you. It works for everyone. And what I realized, that everything that I've ever done has brought success. In other words, for me, and I've talked to James about this, my weight loss has been, my weight gain, weight loss, which has been a roller coaster for at least a good 6-7 years. That I have actually been successful manifesting what it is that I desire, whether I need it or not. And that desire was weight to me. So I don't know if I'm going to articulate this correctly, but everything that I've ever wanted, I have created. And the fact of the matter is, not a lot of times there have been great things that I wanted to create for myself. But that was the first time that I really realized, like, I have been absolutely successful in everything I've ever wanted. But the fact of the matter is, not everything that I've wanted, I've really desired. So now it's really kind of going, what is separate the two? And really get clear. So this was a big deal for me. It was almost like, thank God I got sick, and really sat down and got mad and angry and read. And ironically enough, the chapter was about, the first one was about. So, great. Thank you.
Oh, that was great. That was really great. So, I can launch right from there this whole concept of your desires. Sean, can I capsulize yours? Do you mind? I've already read it. So, yeah, if you send it, if you just email me yours, I probably will get it. Sean has desires to go back to being a singer-songwriter, and I love that your essay. Did you bring the essay? I have it on my phone. You know what? Read it, because I'm not going to do it justice. Because really. But as he's coming up here, what's important that Liza just said is that she's gotten everything she's ever said she wanted, but she's never allowed herself to desire the things that maybe she knew. And so that's the thing that gets you sick and makes you crazy. It's like, wait, you're telling me now I actually can do this? I'm really good at creating all those other things. This seems a little bit more difficult or out of my reach. I hear that all the time. It's out of my reach. No, it's not out of your reach. It's out of your mental equivalent. And yet, it's not. Because because that's not the truth. That's one of these growing beliefs that we come on to. So kind of, okay, thank you. Hi, everybody.
Hi.
All right, so my essay, I have a strong desire to write songs again and to play music with other people. It is a very strong desire that dominates my thought. Writing and playing music is one very important form of self-expression, although I recognize that it's not the only form. I used to write songs and I used to earn a living playing music professionally. Now I have a blockage in writing songs and a repulsion to the idea of playing music with others. I'd like to change both dynamics, but they elude me. As a result, I am frustrated and I'm convinced that the denial of my own creative expression is the source of health problems and my not achieving the goals of wealth and abundance that I have. Let me elaborate further. When I have written songs, they have mostly flowed very easily, completely, all at once, meaning both the music and the lyrics came to me simultaneously. The feeling was particularly thrilling. It was electric and exhilarating. There was no better feeling on earth. All the other activities I have undertaken since, going on vacations, working a day job, earning bonuses, receiving praise from clients, bosses, and colleagues, or buying things, pale in comparison. Interestingly, the last few songs I wrote years ago didn't arrive in my mind all at once in fully finished form. They required more work, more rewriting, and editing. Still turned out great and were worth the effort. What that showed me was that I was not only capable of divine inspiration, but also of the necessary perspiration that is so important for any artist to have, just as persistence is important to any successful endeavor in any area. The second aspect of my frustration, playing with other people, is also a preconceived notion that I've had trouble shedding. As a band leader, I found it frustrating to keep other musicians as motivated as I was. As a result, I spent a great deal of energy making up for the lack of interest or ability, putting in the maximum effort to get success. My experience was a common story, and it was taking me years to accept that it's common in the music industry. And that was not a conspiracy against me, unfortunately. This week, I have focused each day on the truth that divine creative energy is what I am, and that this divine creative energy flows through me abundantly and with ease. I also meditated on the truth that any creative ideas I have had, any unfinished songs, for example, are divine intelligence expressing itself through me. And this expression is right and good, benefits me, and may indeed benefit others. I also focus on the truth of having divinely harmonious relationships with other people, other musicians who have a similar desire for self-expression and harmony with others. I've been opening myself to the notion there are many musicians out there who I don't know who have similar desires that are equally important to them as they are to me. It has become clear that I must stop outlining and stop defining how this creative energy how I will lead and work with people with similar interests. I've reminded myself, and meditated on, the truth that the visible always emerges from the invisible, and that there is so much that I cannot see, but God, infinite intelligence, sees all within me and around me. Meditating on this has helped solidify my faith. This week's exercise has been difficult. If I'm honest, I haven't made the progress that I would like. I would define progress as being able to write music to its completion rather than have a whole host of unfinished ideas. Progress would also mean having greater expectancy of meeting other musicians with similar interests, to be able to interact with them with ease and joy. Progress would also mean taking the action to meet other people, play with, and present my work to them. I haven't done that, and I'm still afraid to. However, the lessons in the chapter of life's rich lessons are powerful. Persistent, having a positive attitude of expectancy, taking action. I know that this is the only course of action to happiness, and the actions I will continue. So what I liked about both of those, I like that Liza talked about understanding that there are desires she hasn't let herself have. I actually thought after. And Sean says that he gets to the other side of these desires and realizes that they're all in him. He's not victim to a world that will give him what he wants. It's just what's going on in here. It's causing all of that. I couldn't help but sit here and think that I'm a pregnancy musician, but also does this idea. So we should always help him. He's a great guy. He's a great guy. He could do a little bit of it. He was a girlfriend, partner, life partner. Yeah, they made a great song. They write a great song. So one more, desires. Who wants to read there? Yes, Eric.
Hello.
Hi.
So the small desire I worked with this week was for a specific amount of increase in my monthly income and a plan I have for achieving that, which requires significant action on my part, though I'm also open to something better or some other way. It requires a leap of faith that this action will be worth doing and will have the desired result, and a diligent approach toward excellence in this action, which could take a while and multiple steps to complete, and which at first seemed like there wasn't time in my schedule to do. I treated about both the desired result and the action being joyful, peaceful, unrushed, and inspired. And I remembered that throughout the week as I found time, here and there to take some of these actions, noticing when I became rushed, impatient, resistant, or overwhelmed, which is common, about what there might be to do, and coming back to a peaceful place that we put this in divine hands, or at least trying to do that. I definitely felt like I was really doing something more significant than usual with this, even as most of my doing was really the inner work to stay believing and relaxing about the whole process.
So, I'm hearing a lot of, that was great, divine hands, for your hands. Right? I'm hearing a lot of, I got mad at God, you got mad at yourself.
Well, that's when we listen.
Yes. I get mad at God, it's out there. No, but it's not. So that's the journey we're all on, folks. Getting rid of that duality. Yes.
Well, here's a question about this whole process. And that is in identifying your blockages and problems, right? On the one hand, it's great because it's identifying. Part of me also felt like by writing it out so specifically, I was giving more power to it.
Yes.
And that's what I worry about, is writing this. It's like, okay, it's cleansing to a degree, but now this is the word I've invoked.
Well, here's the deal, and this is what we're doing today. This is, when you're writing it out, you just put it up here. Otherwise, it's just down here doing the work, doing the same thing. So when you put it up here, because I have so many people saying to me, I don't want to see, look at these things, because when you look at them, like you're saying, you expand everything you focus on. No. You expand whatever you intentionally focus on. You don't just expand willy-nilly all over the place. You blow up. Right? So this is about here. You just brought it up here. So did you. You just brought it up here. You want more income, and you recognize that you have to make that happen, but not me, because it's in divine hands. But they're my hands. So that means I have to be willing to do exactly what you said, which is the work is done in mind first. First and foremost. If it's here, it has to be here. Now, if it's here, clearly, that in divine hands that you're talking about is that inside of you that moves you step by step, brings you to the right people. The right people come to you. There's an attractive energy to this intention. There's an attractive energy to this belief and this knowing. And that energy attracts exactly what is yours to be attracted to. So it may be in divine hands, but divine hands is your hands, and therefore it's being done through you. Everything that happens to you happens through you. It can't happen any other way. So everybody clear on that, right? Yes.
So when I think about faith with works,
Yes.
I always think that the first work that has to happen is there.
And that's where the faith is.
Right.
Right. Yeah, no, absolutely. So, yes.
So it's not beyond the realm of possibility to sort of intuit God's will.
Not only is it not beyond the realm of possibility, it is the only possibility. No, it's true.
Because I like to think that I can intuit things without feeling.
Yes, no. Intuition, intuition is given such a bad rap in some senses because it's like only intuitives can intuit. No, you're intuiting all the time. When you think something like, oh, I wonder if that's an intuition, right? Something is coming through you. The reason why we aren't better intuitives is because we put so much crap in the way. That's what treatment's all about as well. So that's actually a good segue to the workbook. What is spirituality? Remember reading that? What is spirituality? So Cece, I'm going to ask you, because I know you. Did you read it? What is spirituality? No. So, but what is spirituality to you? And use your theater voice.
Spirituality to me has become me. It has become me. It's where I live at. It's the place I live. In spirit realm.
Spirit land?
Spirit realm.
Realm.
Right.
Okay. Laura, what is spirituality to you?
I think just all my emotions, what I feel, what I think, what I believe. I like to believe it's all positive, but but I know that it's a roller coaster.
Well, it can be.
And I feel probably more spiritual, or what is spiritual to me is when I feel in harmony of kind of rebalance.
Okay. So I think we should get spirituality out of the realm of having a bad rap too. And spirituality is only spirituality when you are floating in the sky and absorbed by the highest level of consciousness possible. And people think, now I'm being spiritual. When I work with my practitioners and ministers, one of the things that drives me insane, right, Nancy, is when they get up and they suddenly get spiritual. I'm like, you weren't spiritual 5 minutes ago, 5 seconds ago, you were just talking. Why do you get up and go, that's not spiritual, that's acting. Acting spiritual, right? So it's all of it. So they're not here tonight. So spirituality, this is a quote, spirituality is simply living with the intention to realize God in every circumstance of your being. Spirituality is nothing more than you remembering who you are, and therefore it's just as spiritual to be sitting in Starbucks drinking a cup of coffee as sitting cross-legged at the bank. The DMV. That's good. It's just as spiritual sitting in the DMV waiting for 5 hours. It's still spiritual. I mean, it's still God. God's waiting for the DMV. And God is the DMV. And God is the driving test. And God is the person who gives you the driving test. Right? We all get that, right? So that's what spirituality is. Living in a conscious reminder constantly, 24/7, I am God. It's all God. So it's all spiritual. It's that simple. And I got to tell you, the more you live in that realm of spirituality and call it that, claim it as that, accept it as that, everything changes. The DMV changes. People change. You don't lose your cool that much because you just get it. You understand. You really understand. And when you do, you're quick to come back. I thought it.
Yeah.
Another quote is, to realize God means to know God on every level of reality. To realize God, this is important, means to know God on every level of reality. So again, that means to be willing to see God. We sing it sometimes on Sundays. Be willing to see God even in the challenging times. Liza, being willing to see God even in however many pounds you want to shed. The problem is we don't. We see that as, I don't want that. So it's not God anymore. And so we've created such a division between that which we don't want and that which we're experiencing that's the energy that starts us. Well, so your desires, what you really desire, and the fear that accompanies those desires, or the doubt or uncertainty, or the refusal to even let yourself desire it, because as Sean said, I think Eric said it, because there's a possibility it may not happen. I don't have certainty that this is going to happen. Why should I desire this? I can't be sure that I'm going to get it. So I'm not even going to bother because I just don't know that it's going to happen. I know you can all relate to this, right? That's not the way we use our minds in a spiritual universe. We recognize a desire, and we recognize that that desire came from the divine. Me! If I have the desire, I also have everything necessary to realize that desire. Another understanding of the spiritual universe and what spirituality is. But if I live just down here in the world of, I have a desire, but here's what I know. Not a lot of people succeed at this, and I'm living in a really long part of the country to do this, and my family never gets the breaks. That was my family's motto. So is most of my family's motto. You never get the breaks. I remember when I was supposed to get this huge part of Broadway. I started a few Broadway shows, and now I was going to get above the title, starring opposite Macarva in this brand new revival of the musical. I was the pick. I was it. Until the very last second when they switched horses. And I was on my way home, and I don't know if some of you heard this. I was on my way home to a huge victory party that was being thrown. I was literally in Trenton, from New York to Philadelphia, to stop in Trenton. I was in Trenton, called my agent just to check in at the payphone, even no cell phones. Call them just to see how much did I get. Because they were niggling over the amount of money I was going to get. The car was getting a ton. He was not having to start the show. She was a star, but I didn't really buy it. And there was this I don't know how to tell you this. George Abbott, who was 101 at this time, literally, I'm not kidding, went to see a show, went to see Pirates of Penzance, and the understudy was on for the really wacky part, and he reminded him of Ray Bolger, who originally played the role. George Abbott never wanted me in the role because he kept saying I was too handsome, I was too slick, and I knew too much. I was like, I can't do anything about any of this. Right? So there I am in Trenton, and my agent says, so they gave it to him. I was like, what? That's impossible. He was cut like at the first week of auditions, and he was, like months before. Anyway, I'm telling you this not because I'm so heat around the parent. The universe did not do. I honestly know exactly how that happened because I had room for it. I absolutely had room for it. In fact, I told you the so many stories when I was right here. I was going to be the star singing in the rain on Broadway. That's why I thought at the last minute said, I'd rather have somebody who does moderate than somebody who's got a lot of happy. And I don't know when I was like, Jesus, this is Kevin. My family, the minute I had to go back, I still had to go home to that party. Oh. But no, this was my family. And looking back now, they were so thrilled that happened because that just proved we never get the breaks. They were like, oh, Jimmy. And it was like the agreement with me that, oh my God, I've been wronged. You're a victim. 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 It was like, oh my God. In fact, I stayed there a whole week. It's like, I couldn't get enough of the victim. and there's what happened, and I created from the victim a lot after that. I really did, until I turned it around. You know when I turned it around? When I heard Eric Butterworth speak. I went to Eric Butterworth, and I was like sitting there going, how did I go from like Mr. A Broadway star to everybody's first choice to like a second choice? What is going on? And I heard Eric Butterworth say it. Whatever you're experiencing, that's what you're equal to. And he talked about the mental equivalent. I was like, I can never go home again, ever, to Philadelphia. They cannot talk to me anymore. I have to get out of my head. So, what are you in agreement with? Yes.
What would you say? You said you had room for it. What was it that you had?
I had room for it. I had room to be a victim. Yeah. I absolutely grew up believing that you can be a victim. But up to that point, I had gone to New York saying, watch this, I'm going to change it. You're wrong. I can do it. Because people kept telling me I couldn't do it. And all you got to do is tell me you can't do it, and I do. But that only lasts so long. And then all of a sudden something else happens and someone tells you, you can get it. Really? That can happen. Okay. Let me try that again. Now I've got 50% belief, or 75%. Are you getting it again? Oh my God, now I'm at 50%. You know, that's how that works. So, back to Eric. So Eric said that, you know, there's a possibility it might not turn out. But if you live in the spiritual universe, in a place where you understand that, no, it always turns out for my highest good. And I really believe that now. I absolutely 100% believe it. And there are times in my life when things show up and I'm like, don't forget, you believe that even this is happening for your highest good. That's the mindset of living in a spiritual universe as God. Okay. Would you grab your sheets about the treatments? It's on page, I'll tell you what page it is. Page 6-3. Okay? So here's how we're going to do this. It's powerful reminders for effective spiritual mind treatment. Do y'all have that? Page 6-3? Okay. Raise your hand if you have it. Sammy, you don't have yours? You have it? Page 6-3. Okay. You have it? No. Did you ever get this week's? Okay. Connie? Treatment is not. Yeah, you can read it off of his. Here's what I'm going to do. I want to start over here, and I'm just going to go around the room, and you're going to read what treatment is, and then this person's going to be reading what treatment is not. Okay, on the same line. I don't want to go from treatment is not to treatment is. Okay. I want to start with what treatment is. Okay, so when I point to you, this side of the room is, this side of the room is not. Y'all got it? Do you have yours? Are y'all ready? Yeah. Infuse it with some enthusiasm and speak up. Okay, and Joselito.
Treatment is consciously clearing away the grime of false beliefs from a condition to reveal the truth that was always there. Nancy?
Treatment is not manipulating or coercing people or events to bring about some personally desired change.
Becky?
Being still
So treatment is?
is being still and knowing God is here, letting the presence be so clearly felt that I can realize and declare the spiritual truth that's in me.
Treatment is not attempting to reach God. God is already here, always within and around me.
Yeah.
What Craig?
Treatment is allowing God's power to flow through me into manifestation of the truth without hindrance from my false beliefs. Eric?
Treatment is not putting my own willpower into changing a condition, trying to overcome God's reluctance to correct the apparent wrong.
Accepting that every new discovery in medical fields is as much a revelation of universal wisdom as a new interpretation of life.
Treatment is not disallowing other forms of healing, such as medicine, surgery, psychiatry, diet, etc.
Treatment is understanding.
No. Cece.
So treatment is understanding that mind is essence and mind is form or one and the same. Yes, there is no difference in essence between my thought and what we thought.
Now.
Treatment is not attempting to exert spiritual control of the material universe as though they were separate entities. Treatment is realizing that the words I speak in treatment are only channels for the flow of spirit. It's tapped by the consciousness back to my brain.
Treatment is not thinking that the one treating is doing the healing.
Yeah, say that again.
Treatment is not thinking that the one treating is doing the healing. Can be called a quote healer.
Yeah.
Treatment is realizing that sense of human being is the substance of life. There is a perfect spiritual idea within every no matter what they're experiencing, and this truth can be realized.
Treatment is not denying that the person is sick. Illness and suffering do exist in human experience.
Treatment is allowing myself to realize and declare the spiritual truth about myself and
Treatment is not persuading God to change his mind or suspend the universe or laws.
Good? You all good with that?
Pretty powerful, huh?
Yes. Yeah. I don't usually read stuff that you already read, but I really wanted to have that video. There are things that treatment is. There are. Treatment is this and is not that. It really makes sense to me. Treatment is not beseeching. It is not praying to something outside of ourselves. It is not asking God to do anything, because that is just completely useless. To ask God to do something without knowing that you're talking to yourself, but by allowing that you are. Treatment is a movement of thought. You are energy. That's all you are. You are energy, or divine energy, your life force. You're creative. Everything about you is creative. It's you using your conscious thinking to create. It's always creating. So treatment is you deciding, what do you want to do? What do you want to create? How do you want this to manifest? Do you think you're going to manifest, and I'll use what you're talking about, do you think, and you don't do this, so don't take this personally, do you think you're going to manifest a slim body if you continue to just do all the things that you know are wrong? No, you're not. And your mind's going to tell you that. You're not going to believe that. I can't tell you how many people argue with me in these classes about, well, if I believe that it's okay to just eat whatever I want to eat, and believe that it'll still make me thin, that should work. And I'm like, yeah, that should work. But I don't know a mind that can logically make it. You know what I'm saying? Right. Yeah. Philosophically, your belief creates your experience. But I don't know who's really going to believe that sitting down and eating a gallon of Haagen-Dazs every night, and pasta for every meal, and sugar out the wazoo, and they're just except for James. Unless they have this horrible, unless you're a child, unless they have this incredible metabolism that, unless you are still a mind, there comes a point where, you know what I'm saying, right?
You addressed him so deepening this belief in the process of doing it. So we just kind of all agreed that nobody can believe that we can all eat all the sugar and fat.
Well, I didn't say that.
Well, no, you didn't. You said you didn't go to mind.
Yes, maybe in this room. Maybe there's a mind that could. I don't like to ever be that didactic to say, no one can do this, because that's not true.
But I understand where that person is coming from, in the sense of saying you gotta believe it. Someone says you gotta believe it, gotta have this conviction. And speaking for myself, that's sometimes difficult idea to get. Now we go back to Socrates. Know thyself. Know what you believe. If you believe that, like Kevin, the one more that just won the $364 million in the Powerball. Kevin was so funny. He turned to me and he said, she's probably only going to get to keep about $165 million. I go, oh, that must really piss her off.
It was 145.
Is that what you got to keep? 140. Right, Eric? You good with that?
I'm going to ask something about the Haagen-Dazs. I'm still. So if someone had never heard that Haagen-Dazs would make you fat, like had no idea, somehow had been protected from that information, right? Would the race consciousness in our belief system still create obesity if that's all they ate, even though they're not conscious of that information?
Did you ever hear
Does that make sense?
Did you ever hear the 100th month?
Yes.
So what's the answer then? Yes.
Yes.
Race consciousness.
Even when you're not conscious of it,
You
the
have
human.
to actually be conscious that it doesn't. If you're still living in swimming in the consciousness of race consciousness, and you're living in that energy.
Even if you're not aware that the race consciousness says it will make you fat, it's such a widely held belief that you're subject to anyway.
When someone says ignorance excuses no one from what will happen. Yes, I reckon that. So, going on. So, when you treat, you must treat from the basis of wholeness. Now, imagine how many people treat from a base of drunkenness. Imagine how many people treat from a place of the problem. I want to fix this. I want this to happen. I want more money. I want blah, 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 blah. It's all fine. It's all divine discontent. We don't treat from that place. We must treat from wholeness. We must treat from understanding prosperity is all there is. Health is all there is. There's a divine idea in my body that far, far surpasses anything that may be going on in this world. And that's where you have to be coming from if you wish to demonstrate. Make sense? Okay. In treatment, there's no such thing. This is interesting that it's in your reading. In treatment, there's no such thing as the individual spirit, mind, body. Now we talk about this, spirit, mind, body. This is the individual you, right? Why would Ernest Holmes say, in treatment, there's no such thing as the individual spirit, mind, body? Why do you think?
It would come from that power.
Right. You'd be coming from the microcosm.
And separation.
And you can't come from the microcosm. If I'm gonna come from wholeness, oneness, I can't be thinking. This is the people that think that they're healers, that they're healing people. As a practitioner, I'm not a healer. I know the truth. That's it. The healing comes because you know the truth too. And when I go to my space of knowing the truth, and you rise to your space of knowing the truth, then what we speak is done. And that's it. I'm not a healer. I don't do the healing. My job is to just know the truth. So be wary of those that tell you they can heal you, because they can't. Now, they might look like they can if you believe they can. But still, what's really healing you? Your belief in the end. So there's no individual spirit, mind, body. We use this to describe who we are as individuals. But when we go into treatment, we are not using our individual conscious mind. Treatment goes beyond the individual conscious mind. It goes into what the Emerson talks of as the oversoul. That one conscious mind. There's the power. That's the power of the entire ocean in the drop. I can still be the drop, but I'm using the entire ocean. You all get that? Okay. It says in there too that it's the law's nature to react. It is the law. It cannot do anything but say yes. You all get that, right? It has to say yes. So why do we question? Do you think?
Lack of success.
What? Lack of success.
Like if you said something else that you want to happen.
Right.
And it repeatedly recycles to not happening.
Right. Why is it not happening?
Well, because I'm believing somewhere that this
So
is
is
not
this
going to
working
happen.
perfectly?
Yeah.
Yes. So what I'm saying is, it's working perfectly at all times. You can lean on that. Yes. Yes. I hear that a lot, and I've said that a lot. This is a difficult religion to sell to people, because they don't want to hear that it is done unto you as you believe, even though most of the religions they come from, that's what they taught. They don't want to hear it's done unto you as you believe. They don't want to hear the personal responsibility part. They want a God in the sky that they can pray to, and sometimes He gives them what they want. Because now I'm out of the picture, you don't want God to give it to them. So, yeah. So personal responsibility. If you really believe this, 100%, what it would be for you is a brilliant barometer to show you where you believe something. That's all. Like Ron just said, well, it keeps showing up this way. Well, you keep what you believe. And that's really all this is. This is a brilliant tool. Your life is a brilliant tool. You look at your life. That's what you're believing. Whatever it is. Believe again? I want to say Nancy.
Yeah. Well, what if it's like how Liza was saying, she has her what she wants, and then she has what does she really truly desire, because by result she doesn't have what she really desires.
But that's because
she's But I've
Because lies
succeeded-
Because it wasn't real.
but I've succeeded in manifesting what I put attention on. So while I've been wanting to lose weight, my attention is on weight and weight and weight. Right. And I have succeeded in manifesting that.
Right.
Versus that, and that's why I think I'm very successful. You know, it took me a while to actually successful. You know what I mean? But I haven't
Same
really
mental
got
expression.
down. I got what I wanted, but not what I desired. Like my real desire is like really focused. Like the desire is.
And now I want to go back to what Eric said, because that's the real key here. We don't desire what we want to desire because we don't believe on some level we're going to get it. And there's something in this reading that he talks about. Where is it? It was a great quote. Here it is. Emerson says, "When the half-gods go to great, God arrives." Half measures. I can only go so far because I don't really believe it's possible. It's not that happen. You know, after that thing happened to me in Philadelphia, I turned down a bunch of auditions. And only years later did I actually realize I turned them down because I wasn't sure I was going to get them. Whereas before, I couldn't wait to get in there and get that job. But I now had a belief that, this might not be mine. I changed it. I really did change it. Because it was a number of years later that I got it. When I started this teaching, so actually it was Unity at the time. When I started that teaching, I went to Eric Butterworth for June, July, and August, and September I was back on top. 3 months when I was back on top. I was Mr. Number One. I went from show to show to show to show. Amazing shows. Brand new musical written by people that wrote Best Little Whorehouse, starring opposite Don Murphy, right to playing the lead in Candide, right to starring in the Broadway revival of Carnival. It just went boom, 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 right to singing in the rain, the national tour. I finally booked that. So it just kept going. My agents were like, "You're on a roll." I'm like, "No, I'm not on a roll. I'm actually getting it. I'm starting to really understand." And that's when I was able to say I'm done with that thing. Because I actually realized it wasn't fulfilling me. And I actually was, now my show opened, I came out to LA, I got signed by CAA across the board, and that's when I found David Walker. And I was like, I actually think I want to be a minister. Which drove Kevin insane. He was like, "Come on, like the biggest upswing of your whole career." I said, "I know, but I want to come back and do this. I don't want to take jobs. I want to be in LA studying with him." And I did that. And I'm happy I did it. Now I'm at a point where I'm like, I think I might be ready to go back and start a Broadway show. Us at church on Sundays. Thank you. But you know, I really do have that feeling now. And you know what? That's a desire I absolutely have. So instead, we're going to open on January 30th in my one-man show here for 6 full weeks, and then we'll see what happens from there. And that's just like, there's a desire. So, I mean, I don't want to just be telling you stories about my brilliance, unless they really make sense to you, but I hope they do, because it really does. It's the mind. Yes. If your mind believes what it believes, it achieves what it achieves. That's the truth. So all of us here are with these bags of beliefs. And you have the power to change those beliefs. That's where we are. Yes?
I guess I get a little confused about this one. Okay, when you say staying strong and you really are doing all the inner work and doing that, you be patient and don't look for it every day, don't dig in the garden and see what's growing. You nurture it, let it go, and then it doesn't show up. And maybe it wasn't supposed to because God has a better plan. How do you know which thing it is?
Everybody just reacted to that because they know what it said. God doesn't have a better plan. It's God.
Well, I get it, but like, I keep hearing it.
I know. We do hear that God is a better plan. You know what? God doesn't have a better plan. Let me rephrase that for you. Let me give it a better structure. If I am treating and something's not showing up, first of all, if it's not showing up and I'm starting to get frustrated because I suddenly put the timeline on it. If I keep noticing it's not showing up, I have a timeline on it and I have conditions around it. But let's look at selling this building. You know, I want to sell the building, and I keep saying I want to sell the building. It's been like 3 years now. And there's an escrow, calls out escrow. And I'm kind of cool with it. Now, I'm like, not that God has a better plan for me, or God knows what to do with this building. And I trust that there is that in me that will always take me on the highest and the best journey. Therefore, this building will sell when it's my highest and best, the best for me and for everyone else involved for this building to sell. Now, that's not saying God is a good plan. That's not saying there's a plan for this in the.
And I'm not trying to be split.
Yes, but we have to start thinking. Not that, oh, there's a better plan then. Maybe I'm not getting it. So as you go to the I'm not getting it, there's an energy around that. There's an energy around everything that's happening in your life. And that's what we have to be aware of. Yeah.
One of the things that come easily, I should say, easily, are the things I sort of don't know.
Yeah.
And I really kind of don't like rainbow. Like I got it.
Can I tell you why? I can tell you why. I used to say that as an actor. I used to say, whenever I don't want it, I don't want it. You know why? You're your most authentic self. Because you're not being constricted with a wanting. You know? They were doing this new musical called Hired Man. And everybody in town wanted to star as the Hired Man. And I didn't have time to audition for it. So I was like, I can fit it in between these two other auditions. I ran in the room, sang, and ran out. And I was like, you're kidding. Couldn't even be. I walked in, I sang, and the director went, that's him. And that was it. I was like, wow, that's how you should do things. Don't prepare. Just tell me you don't have time for that. And then just run in and run out. But there's something to that. Your mind is off of all the stuff. So that is what happens. Yeah. So, Mr. Lovers, man, I'm so sorry. Okay, so treatment. Felt with a feeling beyond words, beyond statements, beyond phrases. Ernest Holmes says that you are to come at your mental work with feeling beyond the words. If you're getting stuck up on the words, you're not in the feeling. I don't care. I've had practitioners get up and go, really? You've heard something. And it's okay in that moment. Not on a Sunday, but when they're just feeling, and there are no words. So I love that he says that beyond words, beyond statements, beyond phrases. If you're trying to be clever, you're not really operating in that intuitive place of knowing. Right? In treatment, words are always specific and direct because consciousness must be conscious of something. In treatment, words are always specific and direct, meaning know what you want and be clear about it. If you want to lose 30 pounds, don't just say, I want to lose a couple pounds. Say it. If you want to make a certain amount of money, you say, you know what, this year, and I'm not saying you outline it. Outline it is telling yourself how you're going to do it. But if you want to say, you know what, I made $125,000 last year. I require $250,000 this year. That's it. I require $250,000. That's it. I don't care how, but I do care how. I'm not going legally. I'm not in charge of how it's going to happen, but I know it will be for my highest and best. I require that. Put your mind where you want.
But if you get an idea, like I was talking about a certain thing you could do that you're going to work on, how do you stay in faith that this one thing I'm doing is worth doing, even while saying it may not even be from this one thing I'm doing? I just am open to any path, but yet it takes a lot of dedication to that one thing to finish that one thing.
Okay, the way you're talking, the way you're explaining this to me, sounds like you believe it's possible for you to focus on one thing and that not be it, and you've just wasted your time.
Maybe, yeah.
Or I'm going to focus on this one thing, this may not be it, and I won't hit the thing that I should have been doing to make the money.
Yeah, I suppose.
Okay, that's a belief.
So the way we're looking at it is I'm going to do this thing either way, and it's going to be great, and the money might come some other way. Who cares? It came.
I'm going to do
and this was still a good thing that I
Is there
did.
passion for it?
Yeah.
Is it? Are you doing it because you think it'll make you money, but you're not interested in doing it?
No. There's a little both. I mean, it's both. There is passion, but it's also this could make the money.
Okay, that's not a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, this could make the money. It could not, but I'm passionate about it. I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And I'm staying open to whatever else comes along in the interim.
Yeah.
You know how many times have you been doing something, and then something else comes along, and you're like, whoop.
Yeah.
You just have to trust that that's the way it always drives you in the right direction. Okay. Right knowing gives rise to right thinking. I think I already said that in the other way. In treatment, words are always specific and direct. I said that. All spiritual mind treatment is based on the assumption that there must be a spiritual pattern at the center of everything. Now, I hate the word assumption here because it seems kind of like uncertain. I would say all spiritual mind treatment is based on the absolute truth that there is a spiritual prototype at the center of every one of your desires has a spiritual prototype right at the center of it. Your job is to stay focused, stay in alignment, stay in truth with it, and allow it to reveal itself. Okay? Let me ask you this. What is fear? And what is fear? Sean?
Faith in reverse.
That's third.
Also,
Faith in reverse. Yes. You know my acronyms. That's right. Faith in reverse.
No, it's fear. It's the absence of having faith, which is knowing.
That's correct. Okay.
Knowing.
Okay.
Hope.
Hope. Better than despair.
Fear is believing that there's predicated on the notion that God is benevolent towards some and not to others.
Okay. Okay. Who else wants to give me a stab at fear? Eric?
My childhood acronym was false evidence appearing real.
You all know that, right? False evidence appearing real. Now, I think that's a very cute acronym, but at its heart, it's exactly what fear is. It is a belief, as Sean said, it's the opposite of faith. So it's but it actually, fear is faith. It's actually not even the opposite of faith, although that's how they teach it. If I'm fearful, I have faith in what I'm afraid of. Right? So it's not the opposite of faith, really, but it is false evidence appearing real. I've now put my belief on this. Let's use Eric's thing. If I have fear around this, I'm going to put my belief around the possibility that this isn't going to work out. Now I've got fear. False evidence appearing real, because there's nothing, if this is my passion, I'm being led here, I cannot be led in the wrong direction. And that's a belief. Cannot be led in the wrong direction. If you operate with the I can be led in the wrong direction, that's scary. Then you're not certain. There's uncertainty. And the mind needs to be certain for it to create what it wants to create. Certain. Questions? So there's steps. Yes.
Fear be a teacher also, then?
Yes.
It teaches you what not to do.
Yeah. Fear can be a teacher because it's going to show you what you believe.
Or it is. Or not believe.
Or not. Exactly.
Or even fear use of knowledge can actually be powerful too, because it's like when you burn your hand on a stove, now you're afraid to do it. Now you know not to do that.
Yes.
So it actually teaches you what not to do.
Yes. However, when you burn your hand on a stove, are you afraid of the stove anymore?
No. Now you know what not to do.
You know not to do it. Exactly. So fear is a teacher, but it's not that you ever have to be afraid of that again, because you actually understand it. Understand how to use it. So it's false evidence. I don't ever have to be afraid that I'm going to land a job that doesn't know me. I'm going to waste my time on something because I've already proven my life is unfolding. That's my belief. See? But yes, that taught me that. Okay, so steps to transforming fear to faith. There's an exercise in your pages that you're actually going to do. So I'm going to give you the steps. So go ahead and write these down, please. Can you all hear me online? I trust you can.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Oh, is that you, Connor? Oh, thank you, Lord. Okay. 6 steps. Number 1, recognize the fear. Recognize the fear, number 1. Number 2, face the fear. Number 1, recognize the fear. Number 2, face the fear. Number 3, give the fear a voice. What that means is this. Be willing to talk about the fear. Be willing to explore it. Find out why it's there. Let it tell you what it's doing. Why do you fear this? Why am I afraid of this? Find out. Fear gives you a great opportunity to find those answers. Okay, so number 3, give the fear a voice. Number 4, embrace and love the fear. Don't fight it. Don't argue with it. Don't tell it. Just go. You should never be here. Just love it. Just say thank you. I get it. You are a part of me. You're a big part of me. Okay. Number 5, make a spiritual choice. Make a spiritual choice. And then number 6, I love this one. Live a new way. Live a new way. Now, one of your homeworks is going to be this week that you pick something that you're really working on. Pick some fear you have and do it. Do these 6 steps. We'll get to that later. So now I'm going to go through this How to Change Your Life, what you read. Did you enjoy reading How to Change Your Life this week? I did a lot. I'm loving it. So Reverend Nancy's going to conclude last week's, the last chapter in that one section. So Nancy, if you can help me do that, and then I will go through the selling points of the next section.
Okay.
Hi.
Hi.
I get so impassioned, so empowered about spiritual life treatment, about teaching spiritual life treatment, about using spiritual life treatment in my life. And there's always more to learn. There's always more to expand. There always will be more to understand. And I love the energy that Reverend James teaches with. And energy, passion, is why so many people have gone to him, because of his passion, because of his energy, because of how he expresses who he is in a way that is so compelling. And that energy is what you have to put into your work, into your spiritual life treatments. We talked about affirmations, we talked about all those different things. But this page, starting on 101, don't use your book because I'm not supposed to use my book, but I need to give you one print today. So this is my printed for now for the quotes. The science of mind teaches that because you are a part of the infinite oneness, back to week 1, because you are a oneness, you can declare your perfect physical condition, and it will manifest. Your thought, backed by faith and conviction, is the start of your experience of physical wholeness, which becomes manifest to the extent of your belief in it. That's all that we've been talking about. It will manifest to the extent of your belief in it. And no more, because you have to be equal to it. And when you speak your word, we're talking about this, and each of these sections in here, whether it's physical healing, or finances, or employment, or a new idea, and all those things, what was I say about that? They all, where would those things land? Where would a desire for, if, let's say you're unemployed, you get fired, where would that land in our chart? Inform, okay? So you need a job, right? Okay, so you need a job. Where would, if you were not well, if you had an illness, where would that land? The same place, illness. It's all in the realm of form, and all of this is effects. So for each of these sections, they all start the same way. Don't focus on the need, don't focus on the lack, don't focus on the problem, whatever it may be. The power is up here. The power is up here. And part of the problem that we find in our classes when people are learning spiritual mind treatments, I've heard this myself, is that we tend to focus in the 5 steps of treatment. We tend to focus most of our energy and attention.
Yeah, like that.
Yeah. What are the steps? I'm not going to write them, but you know what they are. 1 is what? And 2 is? And 3 is? And 4 is? And 5 is? Most of, when we're learning to do spiritual mind treatment, we tend to put most of our time and energy into 3. Because they're really limited. And I really it's, and this is how I need it, and this is why I need it, and it has these colors and this shape and this size and this form. And so this one gets really short and then this one gets very fat. But that's not where the power is. Where's the power?
1 and
The
2.
power is in one. The power is in one. We can't start with two until we've established one. The whole thing comes out of this. And no matter whether you're speaking for employment, or physical health, or a new idea, a new concept, I need a new direction in my career, whatever the other things were, finances, they all have to start there. And whether I'm saying there's only one life and that life is perfect and that's God's life and it's my life now, or whether I'm saying God is the abundance, the limitlessness of the universe. Like somebody wrote, anybody can count the seeds in an apple, but who can count the apples in the seed? So you plant the apple seed, it makes a tree. You've got all these apples who make seeds, who make trees. I mean, it's infinite. So I was trying to grasp infinite today. When you say that infinite possibilities exist, what does infinite really mean? What? Endless? What else? Unfathomable. What else? What? Continuous. What else? Constantly expanding. Limitless. That's the realm of possibilities that exist in each one of us. In me, in you, and in whatever realm you're working in. Whether it's finances or employment or relationship or health or whatever it may be. You have a limitless realm of possibilities to draw upon. And the only way we're going to get there is to focus up here on number one. So count the grains of sand on the beach. Count the numbers of stars in the Milky Way. Limitlessness, the universe expanding continuously beyond our comprehension. Limitless, beyond our comprehension. And I think as much as we try to expand our consciousness, there's still more. That's why we're here. That's why we do classes. Because no matter how far we've come, we know there's more. There's more for all of us. There's more for James. There's more for me. There's more for this center. And there's more for each and every one of you. And it doesn't matter what rung of the ladder you think you're on at this moment. You know, whether you think, well, I'm just kind of, getting my foot in the door, galling. Or whether you think, wait, your way it doesn't make any difference. Because the ladder is limitless. Expansion is limitless. So some of the things that I wanted to comment on is, I love this part. You notice in the treatment that we read at the beginning, no particular discomfort was named. We're not talking about the flu or my heel or my headache or my toothache or my whatever. It's not necessary because all things are resolved into thought. So we're dealing in the realm of the absolute, and we're dealing in the realm of thought. And the second thing, which Reverend James already mentioned, is there's no asking in it. Go back over that treatment again this week on 102 and read it carefully. You'll see there's not one word about asking for anything. To take this away from me, to bring this to me, there's no asking in it. So all we're trying to do is realize what we really are. Our job in the spiritual life treatment is to convince ourselves of the truth about our reality. And that's what we go to practitioners for. And forget, all they do is remind us who we really are. And then we go, oh yeah, that's right. And then we go out with a fresh knowing. And that's good too. We all do that. James does it, I do it. We all do it. And it's good. It's really good. When you know and feel, it's all about the energy. It's a movement of energy on a specific line for a definite purpose. A movement of energy upon a specific line. That could be the finances, it could be the health, it could be the employment, it could be the relationship, it could be any of those things on a specific line for a definite reason. That's what it is. But it's not going to get there without passion. We wouldn't be in this class if there weren't passion here about this subject, about this teaching, about these principles that have changed our lives so dramatically and the lives of everyone in this room. All of us have had our lives changed by these teachings. That's what I say. You are declaring every aspect of truth about God as you know it and believe it to be in relation to the treatment that you're speaking for with absolute conviction and declaring if it is true for God, it has to be true for you because you're it. There's no separation. So if it's true for God, it's true for you. So what is something that you're working on right now if you want to know truth about anybody? Something that you're working on in your life. Yeah.
I'm trying to really get the feeling of things. I understand the word and understand the concept, but I'm not grasping the feeling of the description to the experience as quickly as I can.
Okay. Ernest Holmes says in the textbook that if you don't just automatically have that or get it, start with the biggest concept you can think of in the universe. Talk about, for me, I used to do it with sunsets. Something that moves you and makes you have that, you can be the ocean. You get that feeling. There's such an expansion of the ocean. It just goes on forever and connects all around the earth. There's a feeling that you get when you look out there at what appears to be endless, what appears to go on forever, and you get a feeling that you can. You get it. Do you get that?
I definitely get the feeling that it's beautiful and that it's wonderful, but I don't necessarily feel that it's my part of it. So that's the connection of how I really see it as
where do you get the greatest sense of joy? Where does that sweet emotion touch you? With a newborn, a baby, something in beauty, music. Does music touch you right now?
It's just like I just need to recognize it as I guess the connected to it.
You are that. You are that. When the feeling that you get, that's you. That's God feeling itself as you. Feeling itself as you.
And I just want to say something here. Some people, I'm Mr. Touchy-feely. I feel so. But some people go the route of the mind into it. And it very well may be for you that your best shot at this, your best journey for this is to understand it intellectually on such a deep level intellectually that it literally morphs into feeling. So you may very well be trying to feel something you haven't intellectually processed yet enough to actually believe it enough to actually feel it. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, it goes both ways. Yeah. Some people are just very. I mean, I think Sean, you're very intellectual, and yet I think it has more for you. And if I may, just a comment, I sympathize very much with that question. I had that experience too, and I used to go to meetings at the Church of New York every day, and I wasn't feeling anything. I got a song from a chorus line. I felt nothing. That's my And I was convinced I was missing this one thing. So I wanted to get everything else with this. And I realized, well, this is everything. And I asked, as a boy, repetition. Okay. Who was this? Wade Anderson. And he helped me in that regard.
repetition. So I said, okay, I'm going to do that until, just keep doing it until. And you know, it works. Repetition. No?
Just like Sandy Meisner.
It's like saying, it's like the Meisner technique. Repetition. It works.
Yeah.
As far as this whole feeling of oneness and one mind, where does this?
So like,
Where does it connect to, I guess, the science of mind? The feeling of oneness.
That's actually what I was just saying. Saying that if you understand this scientifically, and scientifically, everything is interconnected. The ocean is not separate from you. In the thing called life, scientifically, every particle somehow is connected to every other particle in the universe. It is a unified universe. That's scientific. Now, if that's the way the universe runs, if that's how the universe plays the game, then if I know that, I can find a better entry into it. Now, there are some people that just go, they don't even bother with science, they care less about how it's all put together. They just feel, they can feel. They go to the ocean and they're like, and it's just, they're sobbing, and it's just, they're one with everything, and they can feel it, and they love everyone and everything. And then Devin's going, okay. But the other way works too, the scientific way. If you ever hear somebody like Bruce Lipton speak, Bruce Lipton wrote a book, and you should read it, because you could probably read it, called Biology of Belief. Brilliant book that I taught once, and everyone in the room was lost half of the time, because it's a very deep book scientifically. When you hear him speak, he's so scientific, but he has morphed from the science of this into the feeling of this. And it was all about the science. The science took him to that level of like, oh my God, it's all one. And it's just now when you hear him speak, when I first heard him speak, I still thought he was brilliant, but let's really pay attention. Now he's so heart-led, even the way he's describing science. So he's an example of someone who went from the intellect and the scientific into how that brought him to the emotion.
Wayne Dyer did the same thing.
Yes.
And then he just went, ooh, it's all love. You know?
Ernest Holmes did the same thing. His first book, it's 27 books, 28 books, were all about love until towards the end of his life, and it shifted into love. It's just balance. You need both. You need the love and the law. So the law is more the intellectual part, and the love is the feeling part. But thought moves along a specific line with energy. There's energy here, so it can be intellectual energy, a knowing, coming at it from that, or it can be an emotional, a feeling energy. But there has to be an energy in it, or nothing's going to move.
And here's a question I have for you. Are you excited by the science of this? Does this excite you?
Yeah, it does.
Doesn't it? It must. You can't be sitting through these classes and not be excited, or else you will not be here. Right. So the idea that this is how your mind works and that you create, that's all very exciting, right? And the feeling behind that is exciting. That's all.
I just want to touch on spiritual dominion.
Yes.
Really quickly before we go on. What is spiritual dominion? Anybody? We talked about spirituality. What's spirituality? What's spiritual dominion? Yeah. You nodded your head. You moved. That's how you move. What's spiritual dominion? Anybody?
Taking control.
Huh?
Taking control.
Okay. Spiritual dominion, taking control. Yeah.
Mastery of the self. Mastery of the self on a higher level.
Master yourself on a higher level. Yeah. Who else?
Something I read is that living the life of the saint, or ultimately dying to his death.
Ooh.
It's in the book. It's in the book.
Okay. Are you living the life of the saint right now? You'll never be more spiritual than you are in this.
So I'm not excluding myself
Okay.
allowing spiritual integrity.
Living spiritual dominion, living the life of the saint. Is that what you said?
It's what I read.
Okay. Okay. Who else? This side. Yes. Go ahead.
I live through have experience. It's all spirit, yes. And it's right? So what's spiritual dominion?
What is dominion? What does the word dominion mean?
That's
It's the
supposedly
father
supposedly
of
true.
yeah.
So I think it's embracing the idea, like on a cellular level, that I am God.
Yeah. I think it's something that James said earlier, and I almost had it when you said that. But it was a quote that you read about
Half-gods.
about accepting that God is in every aspect of my life, every moment of my life, when I'm doing dishes and when I'm on the pot and when I'm making love and when I'm working and when I'm sweating and when I'm cursing and when I'm loving and when I'm hating. And it's really getting down into our core that we get to the place where there's nothing we can do or think or be or act or sing or walk or talk or breathe. It's not this thing living itself as us. But and that's all spiritual awareness. As we continue to grow in spiritual awareness, we grow in our spiritual dominion, which is just our ability to speak our word in our life over anything and know that it will be so because it must be so, because you said so. It must be so because we think so, because we said so.
Great.
Turn it back over to you.
Great. That was great. So spiritual dominion, when you have dominion over something, that you are the last word in that situation, right? So spiritual dominion only happens all the time. All the time. Really. Your job is to actually be conscious of it. You have spiritual dominion over every aspect of your life when you remember who you are. Even when you don't, spiritual dominion is working for you. The problem is you don't benefit from it as much because you're still dealing with your job and your illness and all this stuff. You all get that? That's all spirit. That's what spiritual dominion is. Okay, so truth is not variable. So this is section 2 that you read, which I'm going to do in 15 minutes. So, truth is not variable. Anybody want to argue me down on that? Truth is not variable. No, because it isn't. Facts are variable. Truth is not variable. Only as much truth comes to us as we are able to receive. What do you want to say about that? Yes, Linda?
I remember having some people work on me. It was a spiritual thing. And I just started crying. And she said, "What's wrong?" I said, "Yes, I'm really clear that I belong."
Oh, interesting.
And she said, "That's good," because you're aware of how much you walk around good, or whatever the belief system is. And it also makes me think that Dale Dunye's song, "Can I Help It If My Truth Is a Little More True?"
Yes.
You remember that?
Yeah, I do.
And, you know, it's, if our belief is screwed up, then our truth is screwed up.
Yes. Only as much truth comes to us as we're able to receive. How many people, I don't even know if any of you were. Who was here? Anybody? Well, Nancy and I were. Who was here for anybody here for the healing circle this week? Okay. Yes, of course. So, no. So the healing circle, what can you receive? How much can you receive? First of all, it was the most amazing healing circle we've ever had at this center. Ever. And they've all been amazing. But this one, there were more. Usually we have like 15 practitioners and 5 or 6 congregants. They get a lot of our attention. This time we had more congregants than practitioners. And it was really amazing. But at the end, after 2 hours, when we get to the end of this healing circle, everyone is invited, if they choose, and I think almost everybody did, not everybody did, to come into the center of the room and receive. And to make contact with every single person. And our job is to just stand there and send our love right towards them. And the palpable energy that you feel standing in the middle of the room that has already been revealed in the last hour and 55 minutes, hour and 40 minutes. And so much energy has come into being in this room by this point. When those people got in the center of the room, it was very difficult for anyone to not receive. And those that had a hard time receiving literally buckled over in emotion because it was just too much. It was too much to see what was coming at us. And I mean, not for me, but I know one of the people that was in the room literally buckled over in emotion. And it was one of the most beautiful moments because I don't ever interfere, and I didn't for a long time. I just let it go on and on. And then I just said, no, we're not going to hug. And then everyone found it was just this room full of heart. And it was just, I had goosebumps just thinking about it. And even me, who's like Mr. Claustrophobia, even though I've got like 30 people all around me and I'm stuck in the middle of it, it didn't occur to me. I was telling Kevin a story, like, you didn't have an anxiety attack? And I was like, no, actually. The only thing I thought of was that my glasses were getting crushed. But it was just so beautiful. But, yeah, how much can you receive? Those sort of things, and next time you're here, it's like, you really get how much can I receive here? Okay, so Emerson, the Oversoul. Rosalita, why don't you tell us what the Oversoul is? Did you know? Can you stand up and tell me?
So the Oversoul is all spirit. Everything, mind, universal mind, divine presence.
Yes, thank you. That's perfect. No, that's perfect. Yeah, why not just cut to the chase? So the Oversoul, as Emerson says, is everything. It's oneness. But when he talks about the Oversoul, he talks about the creative essence at the center of all things and the allness of creativity. That's what you are. That's what I am. That's when we say we go to the highest Christ consciousness level and then speak our word. We are stepping into the Oversoul and letting everything else just walk away. Okay? He says that in this last chapter, the central principle of what we teach is the immanence of God. Did you read that? Mm-hmm. The immanence of God. So what does the immanence of God mean? You know what the immanence means? Eric?
Like
Either Eric.
Like ever-presentness.
Okay. Did that work for you, ever-present? What else? What else does immanence mean? Ever-present. Immediate horizon, right next to something's imminent. It's right there, fully available. That's actively on right here. Why is that important? Because most people in this science, they start thinking they have to make something happen. Let me do a spiritual mind treatment now and cause something to happen. No, spiritual mind treatment is a movement of mind in the left elements. He said it for a specific thing for a definite purpose. I'm just stepping into what already is. I'm like diving in to the amazing waterfall of creativity and saying, and this is what I want. That's how that works. That's the beauty about being. It's like an endless waterfall of divine energy, constantly moving. And it's right here, present, right in front of you. Yes, exactly. That's you know, people like the Richelieu's, Frank Richelieu was the president of the Religious Science for years. You know, you get to a certain point in your life, you're just like, go do it. Build the nursery. Build it and they will come. Okay. What in this chapter he says what he thinks all people see. What is it that he said all people see? You memorize it? The truth, yes. That's it. Getting there. Yes. Growth, expansion, yeah. He says in the chapter, what all people seek is a relationship with God. However, it still seems dualistic to me. So for me, what all people really seek is more of what Eliza just said, which is, who am I? Most people walk this earth wanting to know who they are and looking for things to define themselves throughout their lifetime. For so long, I thought I was this Broadway actor. That was my definition. And then all of a sudden, there's a trap. Oh, I'm a minister. None of it. None of it. Who I am, that's just what I do. It's not who I am. I bring who I am to what I do. But if I don't know who I am, I could be a really lousy minister. I'll see them. I could be a really bad actor. Really, I'll see them. Right? I could be bad at anything. I could be not good at something. I can be limited at what I do. And if I know who I am, whatever I go do from that point of view, it has to succeed. Even if it doesn't work out, it has succeeded because it took me here. Right? Okay. I already read the quote about when the half gods go to great God lives. So let's just talk for a moment about Jesus. Yes,
I
Liza.
just have a question on the section that says you are unique.
Yes.
Let me make sure I understood the sentence. It says to be an individual, the first one, to be an individual means to exist as an entity. As God rightly understood.
Speak up a little bit, they're saying you can't hear you.
Okay. To be an individual means to exist as an entity. As God rightly understood is the infinite person, so the spirit is the infinite essence of all individuality.
Right.
It took me, I had to read that a couple of times to sort of understand what that meant. I think I got it, but I'm not sure. I think what it's saying is to be an individual means to be separate, but as God, and rightly understood, when we understand that we are as God, we understand that we are the allness of we are the essence of individuality of all.
Right. But it also means that there's no such thing as individuality as separate.
Right.
Joselito is not separate and individual, and then when he puts his mind to it, he unites to the whole little oneness. So that he is the whole enchilada brought forth in this individuality. And personality, which we'll get to eventually too, personality is just you're deciding to use all this spirit stuff to create whatever you want to create. Individuality just means a perfect expression of the wholeness. So individuality doesn't exist outside of the whole. It's just our perception. It's how we explain it. That's kind of what you just said. Okay, so good job. Okay. So Jesus. I know, right? I have to tell you this Ephraimin story. Well, y'all know what Ephraimin is. I know you guys know. I was at the opening night of Woman of the Year with Mark Call. Every year. And Ephraimin was sitting 2 rows in front of me. And I knew Ethel because she had met when I did Funny Face. And so she's sitting 2 rows in front of me. And Laura McCall, who won the Tony Award for Best Actress in a Musical, which really was that year Best Actress in a Musical. She couldn't sing. And she had to sing through this whole musical. She got to one note, it was in like towards the end of the show, and Ethel remember squirming all night. I saw her in the mission, she was like, it doesn't happen. She can't sing a thing. And finally, she just couldn't help it. She let it rip. The end of the show. Lauren McCall sings. She's this big note, and she goes, I am the woman. Except she's like, I am the woman. And Ethel Mummer goes, Jesus! With the wig and everything. It was so loud. Oh, almost everyone in the Argosy section was scared. Every time I hear that, Jesus! Anyway, Jesus. Back to Jesus. Science Mind teaches that the human personality should be and may become the highest manifestation of God. We teach that the human personality, and when I say human, I still mean divine. I don't separate human and divine. Human just means my divine human self. But that the human personality can, at any given moment, be the highest manifestation of God, which really just means that Science mind teaches that at any moment you can be literally languished in Christ consciousness. Because it's a choice. You just have to decide it. And that's really an important thing. Because many people think you have to go to it. That you have to really study for years to get that Christ consciousness. No, it's available. It's imminent. Right now. It's available to you. All you have to do is be conscious of it and consciously decide. That's where I go from. It's all about the gifts that have been given. They're right here, fully present. If you ever hear yourself saying, why? How come that person gets this and I don't? Well, because on some level of consciousness, they chose it, you did. You're still choosing to think that they can get something you can't. You're still thinking you can be a victim. You're still thinking that bad things can happen to you. Whereas, I look at that woman that won the $300 and some odd million, and I love this. What's the first thing she did? She quit her job. It always strikes me funny. I quit my job. How many people do you think walk this planet, taking jobs they don't want to do? And most of them aren't going to win the lottery. They're going to get out of it. And yet, it sounds like a lot of money, $360 some odd million. I have a friend who makes over $52 million a year because he makes over $1 million. And it's so funny when I hear that sometimes, and we get out to lunch once, and I pick that lunch, and I was walking out, and I'm like, I just makes $1 million a week. But it means nothing. I mean, really, truthfully, here's the $1 million. Here's the $360 million. And here's the low self-esteem, and here's the low pay. It's all right here, and it's all decided by you. So, homework. First of all, any questions? Any questions on everything we've covered tonight? We've covered a lot tonight. Yes, so
the quote I like about Jesus is Jesus.
You'll never forget.
I know, Jesus. That Jesus is the great example, not the exception.
And I think Jesus knew that. I just can't imagine Jesus really bought into, I'm the only one, and I'm your savior.
These things are greater you can
Well, you do, yeah.
So you not your gods?
That's all unity, but then I heard it growing up over and over.
No, it's true. And it's what my brother and I argue about all the time. I would say the story about when I said to him, I said, Jesus said this, I don't choose to believe. Jesus said greater things will you do than I do. I said, well, how do you deal with that in your religion? He had does it against you. He just looked at me and went, we kind of wish you hadn't said that. He was very honest. He goes, that's hard. That's the one that's hard to get over. When the kingdom of heaven is at hand. But they can make sense out of that because that meant he's going to die and resurrect. The kingdom of heaven is at hand. So,
when is the kingdom of heaven within you?
He said that too.
Yeah.
That's all
The kingdom of
about.
heaven is within.
That'd be spiritual.
Very good. Wow, using the class to discuss things. Okay, you've come late. Well. Okay, so your homework. Read section 3, chapter 1, Belief in God, through chapter 7, the end of this book, and how to change your life. Okay? Now here's what I want you to do. It's 7 chapters.
What?
Section 3 of How to Change Your Life. It's section 3. It starts on I didn't do pages because you all said you want chapters instead.
Oh.
Section 3, for those of you that are using my book, section 3 starts at 131, and it goes through to, it's not a lot, it goes through to 160. Now, here's what I want you to do. 160. Here's what I want you to do. There are 7 chapters. What do you think I want you to do? What? There are no questions. There are no questions at the end of these chapters. I want you to read a chapter a day. I want you to wake up in the morning and read a chapter a day. Some of the chapters are 1 page. Some of them are 2 pages, not much more. Okay? So, Every day. What do you say?
I said, before you said read a chapter a day, you said read a chapter a day. And I said, well, how do you know this? He knows it.
He knows. So, read a chapter a day, and here's the homework. Do one chapter a day, and let that inform your day. Let whatever you read take you through your day. When you go to school, read it, and then see how that plays out at school. Right? At the end of the day, write anything that came up during the day that related to your reading. So in the morning, you're going to read this. I do this every morning. I read something spiritual every single morning. And then it kind of plays out during the day. There are things that I remember through the day when something happens. So but make it cognizant so that you can share it with us for next week. Okay? So you all got that part? Yes, Devin? Okay. Is that okay? Okay. I want you to complete the treatment in the workbook. There's another treatment in the workbook for you to hand in. I want you to hand in this treatment. I also want you to please hand your essays to Connie before you leave. If you don't have your essay, but you have it on file, email it to me, please. Is that treatment next assignment? No, I'm talking about the essay you did for tonight.
No, the next one.
The treatment is in this coming up assignment, yes.
The essay's on page.
Yeah, the essay from last week that you brought this for. Oh, where is it at? Oh, you put it in there. Oh, then done. If you get a chance, type me an email with it. Or send it to Connie. Don't tear the page out. Okay, and then I also want you to do, it sounds like I'm giving you a lot of homework, but it's really not a lot. I also want you to do the exercise on 612, transforming fear into faith. Using the 6 steps that I gave you. Yes. Page 612 in your workbook. There's a transforming fear to faith word exercise, and it has 6 dots for you. Yeah. Those are the 6 steps you want to use to tell you. You're going to name the fear, and then you're going to do the exercise. Okay, bring that with you next week, please.
Section 6, page 12.
Yeah. Do the exercise. And then just read the course with class material for 7. You two do not have all the how do you get the next 3 right? So Connie, did you make sure you can get them their pages for the chapters? I need. And then you need to do. Okay, everybody good?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
All righty. So let's take a deep breath. Jamie Lula was so brilliant tonight. We closed our essay with something's calling me. The song always radiates through me. So what I know is that there is that within me that knows itself. My mind, I am aware of. I stand here in this body as this mind, knowing that I am thinking. And as I think, I know that there is something in me that thinks through me as me. And that behind that, there is an infinite wellspring of knowledge and intuition and wisdom. All of it accessible, all of it right here present. And it thinks and it moves and it explores through me. And I know that for me, and I know that for every single person in this room. And so I know that everything that we have brought forth here this evening is that mind, that consciousness, that intelligence, that wisdom, that intuitive knowing more of itself, knowing a bigger idea, knowing a more expansive, infinite scope of what this is. Pure love, radiant, perfect, pure intelligence, intelligent, mind knowing. And so I know that as we leave here tonight, we leave here that much more aware, that much more awake, that much more alive, that much more intentionally using our conscious mind to create what we want. The desires that come forward come from that place, from that infinite place. And those desires are here to be known, to be lived, to be realized. And nothing stands in the way, absolutely nothing. And I know that for me, and I know that for each and every one of us, here present in the room, online, or later when you use this, these words backed by truth, backed by a belief, backed by a knowing, and backed by the entire power of the universe, manifest for each and every one of us. We know who we are, we know what we want, and we speak our word, and it is done. This is what I know, and let it be so, as together we all say, and so it is. Have a great night.
Bye, everybody online. I didn't see any of you study except for Lori.
If you needed something, please see me in the office before you leave.
Happy birthday, Frank.
Thank you.
That was a surprise.